Hello, and thanks so much for joining me here for another episode of Storytime. Today's story is called After the Storm, and it's from my collection, Peripheral Visions and Other Stories. After the Storm. The late afternoon light was yellow, not the clear gold of sunshine, but a jaundice shade that reminded Sarah of illness and hospital rooms, hanging over the lawn and trees like a piece of cellophane. The air, heavy with heat and humidity, pressed against her chest and her muscles strained with each inhalation. All around her there was an ominous stillness, an absolute cessation of sound and movement, as if the world were holding its breath in fear of what might be coming. Backlit, the storm clouds massed far in the sky, a council of war planning the next battle. And Sarah crinkled her eyes against the sickly light as it grew brighter and more painful. Tales of Kansas twisters and Florida hurricanes tormented her mind, and she found herself hurrying through the small house, checking windows and closing doors, all the while nervously glancing outdoors to gauge the proximity of the storm. But really, what good did it do to watch the slow but inevitable procession of clouds, menacing and black-browed? She couldn't stop them. There was nothing she could do but wait for the storm and all its attendant warriors. The lightning bolts, the roaring thunder, the powerful gusts of wind and water that would break and bend her if she dared go outdoors. Even inside, there was precious little protection. Lightning could strike at the wires joining her house to the tall pole outside, and in one blinding burst deprive her of power and light. She would be lost in the darkness, unable to find her way out. Or water cascading like Niagara Falls down the eaves could find a weakness in the roof, the slightest hint of vulnerability between one shingle and the next, and like a guerrilla warrior slip into the attic, and then the house proper, while she could do no more than helplessly watch its approach. Sarah's house was solidly built of oak and brick, and she had once thought it impervious to attacks. Now she knew the truth. Nothing was safe. Anything could be threatened. There were so many unprotected places in a house, in a body, in a life. There were so many ways for the storm to enter. And when it happened, where was one to go? So that's just a short excerpt from one of the short stories. And, I live in Ohio and we do get a lot of storms. And for some reason as a child, I was always fascinated by them. We had an enclosed front porch and I used to be able to sit out there and watch it. I know you aren't supposed to, but that's what I used to do. Um, but I did think as I got older, as life happens, that the storms in a way are a metaphor for what happens with life. I mean, you could think your house is protected, but talk to anybody who's been through a tornado or a hurricane or a really, really bad ice storm. And they can tell you, for all that they have done, for all the care that they took, for all the things that they implemented to make their house strong and secure, all it takes is one time and everything comes down. And I think in many ways that's a lot like life. I mean, obviously, we have and are still going through the pandemic, and that is a good example of the kind of storm that can come unexpected, wreak havoc, and then what? You take precautions, you hope it works, and if it doesn't, then what? But beyond that, there are also other kinds of events that happen. And in Sarah's case, when you read the story, you will learn that in her particular instance, it was a health issue that the storm served as a metaphor for her to get through and survive. But there are so many other kinds of storms that affect people. And as I've mentioned before, a lot of times my stories are a way of giving voice to the people who have gone through their own particular storms, but also for those lucky ones who have so far skinned it through, got by without really being affected. It's just kind of a reminder that you are lucky, that you have been lucky, and that you need to be cognizant of the fact that other people are not as lucky as you, haven't been as lucky as you. Another interesting thing too, in the story, if you've ever been through a really bad summer storm, it's so bad when it's happening. Okay, it's you can't breathe, the pressure is so great. And then when it's over, the birds come out, everything smells better. It's almost like it wiped everything clean. And assuming that you did not suffer any destruction, it's like, oh, okay, this is what I had to go through. This is what I went through. This is where I'm at now. Kind of a reminder too, in a way that whatever happens, like they say, whatever happens, happens for a reason. But at the same time, it is a learning experience. We learn as we go through different storms in life how strong we can be. We learn what things we most want to protect, what things matter to us. And in Sarah's case, she comes to a realization about the experience she has been going through. And, hopefully comes through the storm feeling a little stronger about herself and feeling a little more hopeful about the future. It's a very short story. It's one of the shorter ones in the book. And I hope you will take the time to pick up a copy of Peripheral Visions and Other Stories, read After the Storm, and read the other stories in the book as well. And let me know what you think. Did it make you feel more hopeful about your life? Did it give you any sense of what it can be like to go through a storm, make it through to the other side? Share it with me. You can reach me by email and, let me know what you think. In the meantime, thanks so much for joining me here for another episode of Storytime, and I look forward to sharing another story with you when we get together again. Thank you.